when the woman makes more than her man.
Perspective, I think we have a pretty big gap.
And so then what's your salary versus what's your salary, Bailey?
So I'm making between like 300 to 350 a year.
Good girl. That's what we like to hear. Sorry, no offense.
Yeah. And I'm making 70 a year, but there will be bonuses and,
Returns from
returns, but like the business hasn't been lucrative yet. We just opened them.
And I think I pressure him a lot to be like, all right, like what's the plan? Like share that with me so that like we can work towards whatever, you want to be making.
Yeah, and I think that as a woman, it is hard to sort of grapple with paying more in the relationship.
The opposite of like every rap song.
Every rap song, 100%. How often do you meet a partner who makes exactly the same amount as you? That's crazy. And I think that partnership is never going to be 50-50.
Now, let's be real. That's a hell of a whole lot of a difference. That's a hell of a whole lot of a difference. But we'll start with you, Miss Polly. So they said she makes anywhere between 300 and 350,000.
Oh yeah.
So when the woman makes more than her man, what are your thoughts? How is that going to turn
out? I'll be honest. In most situations, there's going to be a power difference where it's like a big difference between the man and woman, because in the roles that we have in society that have already been in place, that's not the right structure. And a lot of times when you're head of finances in your family, that comes with certain things. The power to say no, being able to make more decisions and things like that. And so when you have that on the shoe on the other foot, it kind of changes that dynamic. And for a female in that position, it also means that her mindset towards her partner is going to be a little different. Maybe talking down to them, maybe even not even on purpose. Being able to say like, hey, you know what, I make more money, and maybe then I should be able to dictate how these bills or these things should go, and kind of brush off what her partner's going to say about things, and that can make him feel less of a man. So it's going to be a very fine line and battle between them for a while. So I think it'll be like a big mess basically, but not in all cases, but for the majority, yes.
Okay. Casey.
So that's a big gap, but I see in the chat like everybody's like, what in the world does she do? 350 and he's at 70. The way she turned to him and said, "Well, I would like to know like what your plans are." It kind of sounded like a mother talking to her son that's trying to figure out what he wants to do in life. So I didn't get relationship at all from that. The thing about it is I'm trying to refrain from having a huge opinion, because I would like to know, number one, is that even their relationship even real? It seems a little, I don't know. But number two, how did they come together is the second thing that I'm wondering. Because if that's going to be a problem for you, you just don't make that much money overnight, right? You have to be on some type of projection for those types of figures yearly. So I'm like, okay, how did they get together? And then is this kind of like her last ditch effort for a family type of thing? Like, I'm just going to grab me a man right quick. Or was their relationship really based off love and their connection, and she believes in him leading her? If that's the case, just like Miss Polly said, she needs to check herself, number one, in how she's talking to him. Okay, that's one thing. Number two, you made the decision to be with that man making 70K. Or he mentioned something about a business, so maybe he might have like a startup or something. That may be on a projection for more. So with that being said, the understanding had to be somewhere when they got together. So I would just hope, overall, Mike, what you're saying, the topic, when women make more, I believe it needs to be an understanding. Okay, if there's this huge like enormous gap as far as money being coming to the household. What is the understanding? That should not change the dynamic of him being the head of the household and her being, you know, in submission and following and standing by his side. That's just more money for the household, is how I feel. It shouldn't be any different.
Yeah,
That
I do agree with Casey because
yeah,
it's like the pot, the idea of like we put our money into a pot and then we use our money to then further our advancements and financial, decisions. That should still be the mindset, and then you should still be able to provide those roles that you agreed upon in the beginning.
for sure. Now, what I like to say all the time, and we're going to start a Monday show at some point called Married in Real Life, is that we got to start talking about what goes down in real life. A lot of the times we're going to say, oh, a woman shouldn't make more than her man. But let's pause and realize how we got here. We got here because women got exactly what they asked for. And I need all my mathematicians in the chat to step up really quickly. There is something called GDP, gross domestic product. There are only a certain amount of corporations, and there is a finite amount of money in the United States of America that can be made in the public and private sector to be distributed amongst individuals as income. So if women came into the workforce in mass, there is no way men could make what we used to make, at least most men. You asked for a piece of the pie, not a new pie. You divvied up what was already here. Some people are going to have more, some people are going to have less, whatever. That is the way we needed to look at this and the way women need to look at it. You got exactly what you asked for. Now, another point I want to make. People who are married in real life, if you are married, and especially like somebody like me, let's say, who's married to an educated woman. Now, I'm a bit of a cheat code because my wife can't treat me like that. It don't matter how much money I make. But I think she knew Nigerians are a bit, you don't bark at us like that. We go bark back. I'm in that whole thing right there. But a lot of my family members started off like that. And what it is that you need to find somebody that matches your work ethic. And a large part of your courtship process is talking about what your individual dreams are and how to facilitate it. At least half of my either play cousins or real cousins, the people that are here in the US, the woman made more, or the man set her up in a way to make more for a certain time in their marriage or relationship.